This is Luke Motivates. Welcome. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember way back when you got your first bicycle? Maybe it was for Christmas, or maybe it was your birthday. Do you remember the color of that bike? Do you remember the brand name of that bike? Do you remember the way the wheels spin and the way you whipped that bicycle around the corner or maybe over small bumps? I remember my first bike, and I'm sure you remember yours. But do you remember how the seasons changed and the months went by and maybe a couple years? And then there was one day that you realized that you had significantly outgrown that bicycle. It was now too small for you. It was no longer fit for you to ride. You probably even look odd standing next to it. And eventually you probably got a new bike. But imagine if you tried to hold on to that bike. Think about the maintenance it would require just for you to keep up with it. Think about the difficulty you would have just trying to ride it. You'd be hunched over and legs cramped up, and you'd stop and you'd go. It would be kind of odd. Well, let's think about this. Do you remember the first car that you had? Hey, I remember mine. Maybe it was a small, gas-efficient vehicle. Maybe it was a two-door coupe, or maybe it was just a small Honda or Volkswagen. I remember mine. Mine was a small silver Volkswagen Jetta. You remember all the small things that used to go wrong with that vehicle? Maybe you had to keep an eye on the oil because it had a small oil leak, or maybe it gave you trouble in the wintertime. Or remember there was maybe a small rip in the seat that you always remembered. Or maybe there was a ding or a scratch that was significant on the paint job that always reminded you of that vehicle. Maybe the vehicle only cost a couple $1,000, but it was your first vehicle and you loved it. But there came a time, maybe it was when you went to college, or maybe it was when you got your first really good job, or maybe it was when you got married and you started to create a family and you realized that, wow, I'm going to need something a little more dependable than this car. I'm going to need something with space for groceries. I'm going to need something that has a space for me and my girlfriend, or me and my wife, or me and my husband, and a car seat. And you decided to stretch yourself and get something better. Well, think about it. What if you decided to hold on to that vehicle? Just to keep it, just to say, I have my first vehicle, and you try to continue to make it work with that first vehicle. Think about the challenges it would create. Just think about that. Maybe the arguments it would start between you and your spouse because you tried to hold on to this old vehicle that constantly needed repair, or didn't have enough space, or cost more money to maintain, and was just not a family-oriented vehicle. you would kind of carry the more challenges on yourself because you try to hold on to this vehicle. Well, the odd thing is that throughout life, we oftentimes try to hold on to relationships that have run their course, whether it be a friendship, an employee, or an associate that was part of our daily circle, part of our organization or our team. And because we really liked that person, had a connection with that person, we tried to maintain them in our circle, on our team, or in our organization when all the signs indicated that they could no longer add value to the team. Their talent had served its purpose, their time had been served. They'd given all they could give, and they just run their course. They had tapped out. Of course, I'm not advocating that we just give our friends away, we disown them, or we just fire people, or we get rid of associates. No. But what I am saying is that we create our own challenges. We create tough situations when we continue to hold people in place in our circle, on our team, in our organization that can no longer add value to the team, the organization, or the group. They have run their course. They have tapped out. They've given all they can give. And now they've become more of a liability than an asset. You can always keep that person as a friend. You can always keep them as an associate, but maybe they're not part of your daily circle. Maybe they're no longer part of the team or the organization. We have to realize there's a time to think with our minds, and there's a time to think with our hearts. Have compassion when you're talking to that person and explaining them the difficult decision you have to make of letting them go. But think with your brain when you make that decision and realize that it's time to let them go and bring someone in that can add value to the team where that person has left off. No one said it would be easy. Life is full of challenges. We love the people that are in our circle. But everyone that starts with us is not going to finish with us. Sometimes that person is us and people may have to let us go. And sometimes it's the other way around and we have to let people go. Always seek to grow your team and grow yourself. In order to be a leader, it requires that you be able to make these kinds of tough decisions. Don't find an excuse. Find a way. This is Luke Motivates, and this has been a moment of motivation and empowerment. Looking forward to talk to you soon.